But so speaking of the AG's filings and some of the things they're looking to get from the judge in the second phase, one of them is they filed this fairly detailed plan for a court-appointed independent consultant, I think is what they call it.
I'd call it a special master. He's like a mini judge. He's like a mini judge. And basically, he would report to the judge, hey, you ought to look at this, if they're up to their old shenanigans again.
Right. But they lay out in pretty good detail some of the asks for this consultant or what they want them to do, and also some of the limitations that would be placed on them. And a number of the things that they ask for seem in line with some of the stuff that you've been looking for over the years. For instance, they want reform to the board. They want to make it smaller. They want to put term limits in. They want to rotate out current members over a period of time. They want to bar Wayne LaPierre from ever working for the NRA again in the future. I think Woody Phillips has already stipulated that he won't work for
That's
the
what
NRA
the press reports say. I haven't read the plea agreement.
Yeah, that's a new one. It doesn't. They just filed that the other day, where essentially he agreed to the one aspect, which is not working for the NRA or other nonprofits chartered in New York, at least for a significant period of time, or without taking remedial classes. They didn't agree on Woody Phillips's charge. The jury found that he took or that he had a lot of monetary damages to the NRA that he may have to pay back. That part they didn't agree to, but the part about not working for the NRA anymore, he agreed to that. They want that for Wayne LaPierre as well, and they also want John Frazier, the NRA secretary and former general counsel, I guess, to have to take remedial classes as well and not work on certain assignments that have to do with the NRA's financials and reporting those, because that's what he got in trouble for. But it also had a number of limitations. For instance, the court-appointed consultant wouldn't have access to the NRA's member list, which I think is a very key one. That's something people critical. Are deeply concerned about. Yep. Right, because the NRA's member list is private, and obviously people don't want the government necessarily to have that list of who are NRA members and who aren't.
Yeah, look what happened in California with that list. Yeah.
Right. So
what do you make of this? What happened with Bruin, and they just said, here's everybody's got a gun in California,
Yeah, the leak of the concealed carry.
Yeah, that was an intentional act by staff. Anyway.
Well, there's no evidence of that, but some people have speculated that's the case. Certainly there was a leak of the information.
Yeah, I was on that list.
Which we reported at the time.
Yeah.
So regardless, needless to say, NRA members do not want the government to have a list of all NRA members. I think that, if people want to say they're an NRA member, that's one thing, but most people do not want the government to have that list, right? That's
True.
a key point in all of this.
And that was one thing that I railed against as early on in the case too, that I did not want them to get the NRA's membership list, and they could have gotten it if, given our current financial situation, it's the last asset that's worth a bunch of money, is that list of names. And it shouldn't go anywhere.
And so how do you feel about what's in that proposal, the plan that the AG has put together? Are you comfortable with what's in there?
The first time I scanned through it, I emailed them back and said, that's interesting. And then they further clarified it today with Johnny, Jonny, his first name's the expert there, in response to the NRA's expert. And I thought that made a little sense too. And, the real question is, I think, will the NRA members like having a financial monitor so they know there's no financial abuse going on, which is the argument made by the Attorney General? Or will they just not do it because they just won't believe it because it's the Attorney General, somebody working for the AG that's gonna, I don't know. I thought that it was well thought through, and I laid some of my concerns. I'm not on board with it yet, and I don't know if I will be or not. I'm going to I want to see what the evidence is in this second phase, and then we'll figure out where to go.
Yeah. Do you have any concerns about how this consultant be picked? Because from what the document lays out, it sounds like the NRA would nominate them, but the AG would, obviously the court would be the one who decides ultimately, but the AG would have a sort of veto power over who gets nominated.
I haven't gotten that far
position.
into the weeds on that yet. Right now, I'm just trying to get my stuff done so I can leave for 2 weeks. I have not gotten in at that tight yet. I'm going to be looking at it, though. I'll have plenty of time at night, to scan through this stuff. But I would say right now, if they ask me now, I'd say no, we don't need a financial monitor. And Rocky raised a great point. We've got Mr. Hamblin and we've got Sonia Rawlings. And I do trust them both. Rocky didn't trust Sonia early on, but she has been so forthcoming with him. He's turned it around. And I believe that they will make the right decisions when they're there running the ship day to day. And I think that that it really will not be necessary with them at the helm. If we could just get rid of some of the corrupt, it'll be that much better too.
Okay, so you're saying you're actually against the appointment.
At this point, I would say
by
no.
the court.
At this point, I would say no. But I have to say that they've moved my needle a little bit with those 2 filings.
Okay, so because that's one thing I was going to ask about. It seemed like maybe there's some dissension within the reformer ranks over this letter that you've sent.
I think everybody's universal. They don't want to trust the New York Attorney General, and you can't blame them for that. So, I think it's universal with all of us that right now we all oppose. Every board member opposes the financial monitor. And a lot of that, though, is still based on concerns that are allayed, I think, by those recent filings, but they're not aware of what they say.